Okay, well and good. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you to this extraordinary evening filled with literature, adventure, a lot bit of historical journey, exploring, everything filled in together. My name is Nagma. I'm going to be your master of ceremonies for the evening, and my job is to ensure that you do not sleep off during the next 1 hour. So if you feel sleeping, if you feel any bit of the time you feel like you're getting a little bored, please do make sure that you let me know so that we can ensure that you are involved and you enjoy the event throughout. Now to kick off, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Yogesh Patgaonkar, none other than the young author's father, to please come onto the stage and officially welcome the entire gathering today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Nagma. Those who know me know that I generally do not get nervous, and I love speaking. But today is one of those days that I'm really nervous. You know, it's very few. As I saw the guests coming in, very few times it must be happening that a lot of people have seen the author from cradle to this stage. You know, there are many people here who have seen the author's naming ceremony, his first birthday, and a lot of these things. So it's lovely to be here. So first and foremost, welcome. And if the wealth could be counted in terms of the well-wishes that you have, I think, Chinmay, you should consider yourself as the wealthiest person today, because so many people have come out of sheer love for you, and thank you so much. So, no, I'm not going to speak longer if that is an indication. So just while I welcome all of you and all of your friends and family, just a word about our guests of honor today. They are also friends and family. But there's a common theme about the guests of honor today. Pune city, and in general, this audience does not need any introductions actually. While Nagma will do the formal honors later on introducing them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what's the theme and why they are here as a guest of honor, apart from being the dignitaries that they are. So the common theme for the today's guests of honor is that all of these people have a proven track record of encouraging young minds, encouraging people, and ensuring that people live up to their potential. That's the common theme across all our guests of honor today. And without getting into too much of the details, a few things, the way they came in our life, I'm going to share with you. When we came to the city of Pune in 2003, it was Ganesh and Uma who actually helped us settle in the city. And knowing my temperament, I required people like Ganesh is laughing right now also, but it required people like Ganesh and Uma to help us settle in the city. The kind of work they both have done to encourage the young minds is a sort of legend made of. I'm also going to talk about Principal Chabra. And sir, I don't know whether you remember, Chinmay took admission in Indus International in the 5th standard. And like typical parents, we were sitting very tensed next to Chinmay when sir was interviewing Chinmay. And he had an uncanny knack of putting a child at comfort. And he asked Chinmay, so do you play any sport? He said, yes. What do you play? Cricket. Are you a batsman or a bowler? He said, I'm a batsman. So then sir asked him, what is your highest score? He said, 3. So he said, you say you are a batsman and your highest score is 3? So he said, sir, but I have played only 1 match so far. What Chabra sir said, I will never forget in my life. He turned to us and told us, this is something rare. If he had told me 100, I wouldn't have known. So when he tells me 3, just ensure you let him be. Sir, taking your advice, we have tried our best to let him be. And perhaps today, that's the day we are there. I was living a very comfortable life, running my own company, and thinking that my corporate career is over. And then I met our next guest of honor, Anand, and he told me something very, very interesting. I was at a stage of life when I wanted to work with people I want to work. And he said, we don't do anything wrong. Very few people in the corporate can actually stand up and say like that. And Anand's track record again is encouraging the young minds, very selflessly encouraging the entrepreneurs of this city, is well known in the city. So what we thought is that we just took the liberty of knowing all 4 of you. And we said, let's take a chance and invite all 4 of you as a guests of honor, more to pamper our kid for his second novel. And that's what it is, if you ask me. and I'm not going to make any big deal out of it. So it's our parents trying to pamper the kid, and all four of you agreed to be here. There are many other people who have come out of sheer love and pampering the kid, and that's what the ceremony is all about. Many of you I have seen taking Chinmay's autograph on the book. Chinmay, just remember that you please take back their blessings when they are taking your autograph, and don't forget to do that. That's what this ceremony is all about. Without further ado, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to call Nagma. Nagma is the CEO of Foster Reads, and they have an amazing mission in life. In today's world, they have a mission in life to ensure that people have more and more passion to read. And that's why the Foster Reads. So Nagma, thank you so much for hosting this for us, and over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, the man of the hour. I would like to invite, without further ado, our young author, Chinmay, onto the stage. So we have multiple sessions planned for you today, and to start, we would like to really understand Chinmay as an author, because I'm very sure that a lot of you know Chinmay from from the time he was born. You've seen him throughout different journeys of his life, throughout different stages. But what exactly was his author's journey been like? Are you curious to know about it? Yeah? So the first part of today's entire launch event, I'm going to be getting into a conversation with Chinmay. Chinmay looks to be a little nervous. Are you? All good?
I'm nervously excited.
He's nervously excited. So we're getting to a small conversation with Chinmay, where I will be asking him a few questions about the book, about his writing journey, about the different characters in the book, so that I hopefully, on behalf of all of you, every questions that you have in your mind right now may get solved. If it's still not over, you still have more questions. Once the official stage event is over, please catch hold of this guy. He will not run away, and you can go bombard him with all the questions that you are having. Are we good? Okay, my first question to you, Chinmay. The book that you've written, Ashoka's Secret, it's a lot of history, right? There's a lot of history in it. There's a lot of deep diving into the old age kings, the old age war and everything. Where did you get this entire inspiration about, or the inspiration to pick up such a big topic? And such a rare topic, I would say, because a lot of other topics we keep seeing, if it is mythology also, today it's very common. But then why history? What was your inspiration behind that?
So, firstly, thank you so much for being here. I'm really grateful for your presence. And to begin with, I think the reason I got so involved in history is because of my sister, Janvi, my elder sister, who is an archaeologist, and just the dinner table conversations about history and just history 101 and every single intricate detail that she mentions about history on the dinner table, really it inspires me, and that is something that has been the reason for me to take up history. So that is why Ashoka's Secret is also based around, so it is based around history, and the protagonist of the book, Ananya, who's also the character is named after my cousin, who's right here. So the character, who's a PhD scholar, is inspired a lot by my sister and her passion for history.
Interesting. How much are you missing your sister right now?
Very much. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think 30.
You rarely get a chance to stand in front of a big crowd and then give a message to somebody. Is there a message that you want to... Oh yeah, is there a message you want to give to the camera over there? To your sister?
Please read the book and give me a review.
Got it. So now again, coming to history, there could be a lot of topics which we very commonly know about. Like even a student who's not very fond of history, a lot of names are very common. But Ashoka is not something that we on a very regular basis discuss about. Yeah, we all know the Ashoka symbol and everything because it's there on our coins, on a regular basis. We keep seeing it everywhere. But then from what happened during the Kalinga war or Ashoka as a king, it's not something that we regularly hear about. So why Ashoka? Why not any other topic from history?
Ashoka, well, I mean, the one aspect of Ashoka that has been caught in the story is that there's this conspiracy theory that after the Kalinga War, Ashoka, who was completely devastated by it, he converted to Buddhism because it is all about peace and harmony. So after converting to Buddhism, he created the secret society called the Nine Unknown, preserving 9 different areas of knowledge, from alchemy to microbiology to communication to propaganda, and all the 9 subjects. So the purpose of the secret society was to preserve and update these 9 manuscripts over time and reveal it only at the right time. So that aspect, assuming that this conspiracy theory is true, I have taken that aspect and connected it to modern India, where there's this PhD scholar who's researching on Ashoka and his secret society. While I'm so excited to talk about it, I think I want to leave the audience and the readers to find it out in the book.
That's the indication that you have to go back and read the book. Well, you've been talking about a lot of history, a lot of difficult terms, and a lot of things that happened in the past. I'm sure you would have had a lot of research process while you were trying to write this book, right? So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process?
Right. So before I get into my writing process, I always I find a story and write on it. I usually have a certain sense of interest. So for example, to talk about my first book, The Last 21 Hours, I was really interested in this, FBI theme, crime thriller, and I read this book called Shall We Tell the President by Jeffrey Archer, and it was the first book that I actually completed in one sitting. So that interested me to research a lot about that, about US and crime and FBI and stuff like that. Similarly, my sister inspired me to find an interest in history, especially ancient Indian. So I knew the theme in the background of the story, but when it comes to the writing process, when I jump into that, I have this notebook where I write every idea for a plot, which is a one-pager. So I wrote the one-pager plot of the story, and then I go into thinking about how the story starts and how it ends. So now when I have the idea that how it starts and how it ends, I just find a way to connect the dots, which I do and I do that on an Excel sheet. So chapter 1, what's happening and the characters involved and stuff like that. Similarly, in that very same Excel sheet, I have the list of books and sources that I have to refer to, and that is how my writing process goes. So I'm writing and researching kind of at the same time.
Aspiring writers from the audience, for a fact you can go back to Chinmay for your advice in future when you're writing your book. Okay, coming back. Well, in the book, for those of you who haven't read the book so far, I've read the book. I'm one of those lucky people who already read the book before the launch. So in the book, the characters are traveling to various places, starting from Tibet, they are in Dharamshala, they are in New Delhi, there are incidents happening abroad, there are a lot of places that is covered. So while you were writing, how did you manage these incidents happening in different places? Did you visit these places?
Well, no. It was. As much as I would have loved to, I didn't because, I had to research my way out of it, and I kind of play around with Google Maps on this satellite feature, and I just find out, okay, this is the this is location X and this is how it looks, and okay, let's see if I can try describing it, or maybe I can add my own touch to it. So that's how it goes about, at least as far as the location is concerned. And the rest, I do read different sources. For example, there is so the locations and which are also pretty significant historical monuments. The information around that is out there in the public domain, or there are certain books about Ashoka which also mention these locations. So that is where I go on about researching and finding out this is how it is all about, and I have included fragments of that in Ashoka's Secret.
So where do you find your information from? Like you were telling, you were searching. There's a lot of historical facts you've added. I'm sure even though the book is actually a fiction, you definitely would have had make a lot of references, right? So where exactly were your sources?
I'll have to remember, but yeah, I think, I've mentioned different sources that I've referred to in the bibliography. So yeah, sources like, even if it like documentaries or YouTube videos, travel videos, and like of these monuments, or different news articles, different books are my, like they were all my sources. I'm sorry, I can't really remember them, but they're there in the bibliography section of the book towards the end.
Thank you so much. Next, I have an interesting questions which I'm sure Chinmay's teachers are going to be very interested to see, listen to the answers. Well, in the book Ashoka's Secret, it involves a lot of themes. It involves danger, there's persuasion, there is a pursuit of knowledge. So there are various themes in the book, right? Now, among all these different themes, which theme resonates the most with you and why?
I feel the pursuit of knowledge really matches the theme of Ashoka's Secret, because, on one hand you have the nine unknown that preserves this knowledge for the right reasons, and then on the other hand there are these bunch of people who want it for their own purpose. They want access to these like different manuscripts, this like 9 areas of knowledge for their own gain. So just the good and evil thing around that is something that I feel really matches with the pursuit of knowledge part, because there are, on one hand, the pursuit of knowledge is in a positive way, while there's the pursuit of knowledge for a negative sense of ambition.
Interesting. Well, you've just spoken again about the nine unknown. So they are also the different characters in the book. So can you tell us a little bit more about the different characters in the book, and what was your process while building each of these characters?
So there is this one character who is inspired by my grandmother, my nani, who's present over here, and like she's probably an example of one of the characters. Then there is then the different characters that are present are probably inspired by the like the people around me, probably, or maybe the inspiration from different books for certain characters, especially the villain. I really loved building the bad guys, because the kind of like the bad guy defines the good guy or the good girl, actually. So that is something that I really enjoy writing the villain.
Interesting. Do you have a process in which how you create a character? Like if you know this is the kind of storyline that you need, and you know you need one person who needs to take up this role, how do you define that character? What is your process like? How do you start building that character?
Yeah, so when I'm writing like a proper manuscript, I have a different Word doc opened where it is all about the characters. So it includes everything about them. For example, if Ananya as a character is concerned, I'll mention, like, so she's a PhD scholar, who she is as a person, probably a zodiac sign, her favorite food, and yeah, different nuances about each character. And writing that part is something I really like. I really enjoy. So I don't include it in the manuscript while writing it. I write it on a separate document, and certain fragments can be mentioned in like certain parts of the book.
Does any of the characters in the book resemble you?
No, not really. I like to think that I'm the spectator in the book.
Oh, okay, good, done, got it. Well, in the novel, you're spanning around different locations, different situations, different kind of emotions and everything. So, is there any particular instance or a scene from within the book that is your favorite? If you have, then why?
I feel, well, if you ask me honestly, the entire book is my favorite. But the action scenes and the different, the description of the action scenes kind of build the anxiety even in my head when I'm reading it. Uh, and also, like the historical part of it is something I find really interesting because, like, hey, wait, I researched this and I'm also including it here. So that is something I really like. I really get excited about when I'm reading it and also writing it.
Nice, interesting. Well, I'm sure people seated here today know that Ashoka's Secret is not your first book. You have a published book before that. Now, what do you think personally that from your first book to the second one, Ashoka's Secret, how have you evolved as a writer?
I think so. The first thing that I have really observed in both the books is that one thing that I've really learned over the process of after finishing the last 21 hours to now finishing Ashoka's Secret is that a lot of patience is required to write, then edit, then publish it. So that is one thing that is very important. And also, I think I have learned how to include the necessary and the relevant parts. So, for example, the very first draft of Ashoka's Secret uh, had 68 chapters, and before sending it for the editorial process, I read the manuscript and I removed 50% of the chapters. And I thought that, and while it was very challenging for me to remove them, I really thought that, okay, they're not building any link to the story, they're not adding much relevance to the story. So it's better to keep my writing a lot more crisp and concise and like straightforward. So that is one thing, and that is a very important insight for me during my writing process.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, this part was about how you evolved as a writer. But what do you think personally? How has a journey of spending time with yourself, spending time with a lot of research, spending time within your own mind, trying to gather thoughts, penning them down, rereading them, correcting them, editing them, again, like you said, deleting some of those parts. Has this impacted you personally?
Uh, I think removing 50% of the chapters, it was very challenging for me because I was like, okay, I have put so much research into this, so much time into this, and I'll be very honest here, I was also quite disappointed when I removed those chapters, but then I kind of viewed the whole process as a reader, at least from a third person's perspective, and I thought that, okay, as a third person, I see that this is not really making any sense. So it is good for the story to, let go of the chapters that don't make any sense or are not adding any relevance.
Interesting. I think personally also you can say that you have evolved as a person. Great. Coming to some fun questions. If there is any character in your book who you can go on a coffee date with, let's not call it a date, go on a coffee with, who would that be and why? You'll have to tell us why exactly, what characteristic of that person do you like so much that you want to go on a coffee with that person?
So, I think I would really, have a cup of coffee and chat with this character named Mark Tanner, who's a very cool guy, and
Who's also the villain, you might add.
yes, and also another character named Richard. So I'll spend time with them, chat with them. They seem so because I really liked writing them because they were the antagonists and the bad guys. So I'd probably, chat with them, and I'll probably tell them, maybe there's no harm in being a good person. You might want to switch sides. So yeah, that is so those two people.
You
I'll
want to
convince
go
them.
on a coffee with them so that you change their mind to be on the good side for your next book.
Yeah, I'll be like, bro, this is, it's not really working for you. So yeah, you might as well be a good person.
Okay, done. Okay, done. Thank you so much. Well, if you could get the blessings of being able to travel, you've written a historical fiction, right? If you have, tomorrow you wake up in the morning and you have a wish granted that you can go back to any time, future, past, anywhere, what period of time would you want to go back to or go forward to, and why?
I have a list. But
Okay, maximum 2, please.
two, okay. I'll go back in time to see if the Mahabharata actually happened or not, because there's so much, talks about it being a myth, and there are also theories that suggest that it actually happened. So why not go back in time and just check if it is true or not?
Anybody
And-
wants to join? Do you have space in your train, please?
Yeah, and secondly, in the future, the future me would probably want to come back here. So yeah, that is one.
Okay, thank you. Well, one last question. If the book tomorrow gets adapted into a movie, what would your dream cast look like?
Wow. I always thought of Ashoka's Secret as a novel, but they say never. So if someone is nice enough to make and kind enough to make a film out of it, I haven't really thought of any actor a screen cast per se, because even as far as Ananya is concerned, I'd probably pick either the Ananya over here or my sister.
What about the villain who you want to go on a coffee with?
Oh yes, I'd probably. Oh yeah, George Clooney could be Richard. And there's
Reaction.
there's this film Munich, directed by Steven Spielberg, and the main character Avner, I'd probably have him as Mark Turner. He'd be
Any
perfect for
potential screenplay directors, screenplay writers, producers in the crowd, please make sure you're hearing all of this. Okay, last one again, it's not a question, but then finally, you've achieved something amazing. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so
Is there a message that you would want to give to the aspiring writers?
Probably two things that I have learned, and one being this is also a line from Top Gun, by the way. Don't think, just do. And secondly, just have a lot of patience.
Thank you so much, Chinmay. Thank you so much. And once again, congratulations on your
Thank you so much.
amazing achievement. So Chinmay will be reseated here. I'm going to slightly change my position. A basic discussion with our chief guests who have actually taken their time off from the busy schedule. As Yogesh sir said, I understand a lot of this might also be personal. These are well-wishers and you're coming here on a formal event, but thank you so much for being here today. And I would love to call each of you onto the stage today to actually address the small panel gathering. Like we were telling, these are all personalities who's been encouraging the young generation to be able to achieve what they believe in, encouraging them to follow their passion, and supporting them in every way possible. So I'm going to invite each of you onto the stage one by one, not taking any partiality. I'm literally calling you up on stage on your alphabetical order. Yeah. So Mr. Anand Deshpande, sir, if you can please come on to the stage. So Mr. Anand Deshpande is the founder, chairman and managing director of the President System since the inception. Dr. Anand holds a BTech honors in computer science engineering from IIT Kharagpur MS as well as PhD from the Indiana University in the US. Dr. Anand has held numerous positions at various professional and non-profit organizations like the NASCOM, ACM, SEEP, CII, just to add some of the names. Dr. Anand is also a founding member of the iSpirit, India's first product think tank, started with a vision of creating a vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystem in India, as well as I4C, the Inter-Institutional Inclusive Innovation Center. With members of his family, Dr. Anand has established the Astra Foundation, a non-profit entity which focuses on creating a self-employment at scale. Thank you so much for being here today, sir, and welcome to the evening. Moving on to Dr. Ganesh Natarajan. So please onto the stage. Yes, Dr. Ganesh is a founder and chairman of the 5F World and Global Talent Track, the chairman of Honeywell Automations India Limited, and the Lighthouse Communities Foundation. Dr. Ganesh holds bachelor's degree in engineering from BIT Mesra, master's in industrial engineering from the NITIE, and PhD from IIT Mumbai. Dr. Ganesh also is an alumnus of Harvard Business School and has been a successful business and social entrepreneur for more than 30 years. He has served on the boards of State Bank of India, Hinduja Global, as a principal, Educating Girls, SVP Seattle, and Asian Venture Philanthropy Network, Singapore. Dr. Ganesh has authored 13 books and served as the chairman of NASCOM and HBS Club of India. Thank you so much for being here today, sir. It's an honor. Moving on to Mr. Sandeep Chabra. Sir, please onto the stage. An educator par excellence, heads the Indus International School, Pune as a principal, an alumnus of the Winberg Allen School, Missouri, and a postgraduate in chemistry. Mr. Sandeep Chabra has over 35 years of experience in education and has rare distinction of working very closely with 4 major school curricular systems in India: IB, CIA, CBSE, CISCE, name it, he's worked with it. He has been part of the curriculum committee for several boards. As an IB school principal, Mr. Chabra has been an instrumental in setting up 2 boarding schools in Dehradun and Chandigarh. Mr. Chabra believes in teaching learners to do things differently and training them to be capable of doing anything that they put their mind into. According to him, creativity, critical thinking, and innovation empowers learners to develop the skills they need in order to meet the requirements of a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. Thank you for being here with us today, sir. Welcome. And finally, Dr. Uma Ganesh, please onto the stage. Dr. Uma Ganesh is an MBA from the Faculty of Management Studies, New Delhi, and a PhD from IIT Bombay. With 3 decades of success in corporate entrepreneurial ventures covering manufacturing, media, banking, education, IT, Dr. Uma has built expertise in entrepreneurial strategy, skills development, digital employee management platforms. Dr. Uma has also co-founded the 5F World is also an investor, a board member at Emoha Health, and has co-authored 2 books on knowledge management and digital success. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here today with us. Now I would like to invite Chinmay back onto the stage. It's your day. Please be on the stage. And yes, Mr. Yogesh back onto the stage to lead the panel discussion.
Am I going to speak? So that's not going to happen. I'm just going to prompt the discussion, and I'm going to, I'm going to go by Anand's suggestion. So we are going to ask questions in the reverse order in which they came up on the stage. My first question to all 4 of you, and you all 4 deal with the young minds so extensively. In the age of micro-learning, where all of us are almost learning through small videos and nothing wrong with that, what is the role of the books, and why should the books be read? What's your opinion? And just free-flowing on any other topic related to that.
Yeah, what a wonderful occasion. So first of all, hearty congratulations to Chinmay, Pallavi, and Yogesh. As Yogesh mentioned, we are really delighted and privileged to be part of this wonderful moment because we have seen Chinmay literally from the time he was born. So, really thrilled to be here today. So this question Yogesh posed, micro-learning, how relevant it is, books, have they really gone out of, have they become obsolete? So my thinking here would be that micro-learning has really taken the world by storm. So nothing can really stop micro-learning. Micro-learning is definitely relevant when you are very clear about a topic that you just want to know. You completely, you just want to get a summary and you do not have time, or you're just getting introduced to it for the first time, or you just want to refresh. Micro-learning is really useful in that context. But when you really want to get to know a subject in detail, you want to have the context, and you want learning typically a subject in depth would mean that you need to go deep and be able to absorb the contents, have the context, sometimes move in different directions as well, because that also brings in a clearer perspective. And that's where books will always remain relevant. And that's where books will play a major role in terms of enabling us to think, and innovation, ideation, all of that we keep hearing about. Those facets, if we have to really nurture, books are extremely going to be, continuing to be relevant in the days to come.
To all esteemed guests, just feel free to express your opinion, add to your points about what should the young people do in today's world where the information is so much. So just feel free.
Right. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Chinmay and to the proud parents, for his accomplishments. As an educator, there is nothing more gratifying than to see young students excel beyond what is mandated. People come to school and do their education, that's mandated. But what he's doing is not mandated, and that gives you a great amount of satisfaction. Books as we know them people think that they've gone out of vogue. I don't think so. I think, as educators, we always try and tell young parents that part of the good parenting, okay, everyone's a good parent today, but part of the good parenting is also encouraging your children to develop the habit of reading. Because that will allow young people to experience. You can't go physically to experience everything. There's a lot of experience that comes through books. It helps young people to build perspectives. It also, in my opinion, helps young people to build the moral man in them. I think, whilst in today's world there's a lot of focus on the economic man, but I think the habit of reading helps them to build, evolve themselves to become good people who will then end up doing good. And like ma'am said, I completely agree with her. Whether it's micro teaching or nano teaching or using the plasma, it's going to be a part of, young people's world. It helps you to find a lot of stuff very quickly. You can kind of go from one place to another place and, kind of find different things. But when you then have to go deep into it, like she said, then you need the physical book, in my opinion. And today they say that young people must be trained to build what is called a biliterate brain, where there's a combination of the plasma and there is and that of the book. So they say that you've got to have a plasma brain and a paper brain, and collectively it makes a biliterate brain, and therefore both are important. But, reading a book is definitely something that all of us must encourage young people to do.
So let me approach this point a little tangentially, because I met Chinmay for the first time when he was a concept in Yogesh's head. So So, so at that point, he was not yet born, and the unborn child is always a superhero. The time I actually met him was when they had moved to Mumbai, and I stayed in their house for a night. And there was this completely villainous little 10-month-old kid, okay, who used to refuse to leave my door. He doesn't remember, because he was too young for that. I said, oh my God, what will this boy grow up to be? He was such a dangerous kid at that point of time. Okay. And just the anecdote, I mean, I grew up in a little village called Tatisilva in Jharkhand. It's very close to Ranchi. 20 years back when I said Ranchi, people used to look as dazed as you look. But then Mahendra Singh Dhoni happened, so everybody knew Ranchi. But Tatisilva was a village. And my sister and I actually studied in a little convent school 5 kilometers away. Half the time we used to cycle. Sometimes if we were lucky, we would get a bus. And I remember the first time I heard a name called IIT was probably when I was in class 8 or maybe class 7, I don't know. And somebody had got into IIT from Ranchi, and there was a big celebration at their house. So I remember going and telling my principal, a guy called Fitzgerald, we used to call him Fitzy. And I said, Fitzy, I want to get into IIT. So he said, wait a little, let me finish laughing and then we will talk, okay? I said, what are you laughing about? He said, you're not studying in a school which will get into any kind of tea, forget about IIT, okay? So I was like really crestfallen. I said, what do I do? So he said, what do you do? What do you really like doing? I said, I'm a great book lover. I read 4 books a week, and my father always bribes me and buying me a Enid Blyton or something else in those days. And I read those books. He said, that's it. Don't worry about your life. You speak good English. You are reading lots of good English. You will eventually write good English. When you're 60 years old and look back in your life, you will find it is the power of communication that got you here. Today, if you look at, let me give you a statistic which you may not be aware of. There are close to 80,000 words in the English language. The average American knows 800, but gets by. The average child growing up in this country knows 600 words, proper words, and 400 WhatsApp abbreviations. Okay, and this is the generation that is growing up. So when I read the page number 4 of Chinmay's book, and I read utopia and dystopia in the same sentence, I'm saying here is hope for humanity. Okay? He will hopefully not grow up to be Shashi Tharoor, but at the same time, he will certainly grow up having a vocabulary of, if not 80,000, 20,000. Okay? So Yogesh, very tangential answer to your question, but I'm saying I completely agree with you, sir. I mean, it's reading books and reading and opening up our minds that make us better human beings. And everything we do, if we go one track and only do whatever we have to do, I think we'll live in a very dystopian world. So I think that's really what we need to change.
I guess I'm the one who knows Chinmay the least. We've met only once before. But let me congratulate Chinmay, his parents, Pallavi and Yogesh, and also his sister, who seems to have had a big role to play in this book. I'm really honored to be here, and I'm going to count this moment as one of those when this book becomes famous or your movie comes out. Say, when Chinmay wrote that book, second one, this is the first time I found out you had another one. But anyway, so this would be something I can remember and tell my kids that, we were there that day when he wrote that book. So I'm really flattered to be here in this opportunity, and I'm really hoping and wishing all the very best, and you'll have many more books and many more movies to celebrate as well. Now, coming to this question about reading books, I think in the last few years, thanks to AI and all the other technology that has come into play, I think content reading has become very multimodal in many ways. So we are consuming things as reading books, but also online books. We are also listening to these books. We can basically make a film out of this using generative AI or whatever else. And we are consuming all of these at the same time, concurrently in different ways. And one might think that this might kill this or that or whatever, but I think we should not generalize. And I'm going to give you a few examples of why I think because of these new technologies, some traditional ones have changed very dramatically. So one might imagine that, people are consuming micro things. Yes, they are consuming micro things. But if you think about all the long serials of specific topics, so you have multi-episode films happening on Netflix, right? So 3 hours is not enough. I can't move it in the movie, so I'm going to have like a 32 hours, 60 hours or all that. So one would have imagined, why would anybody watch them? But they seem to be very popular. On the other hand, you look at cricket, for example, you might say T20 is going to kill test match cricket. But if you look at the new test match cricket, it's all T20 driving, next generation of test match cricket really happening in a big way. If you look at AI and say, chess can beat every AI can beat all the human players, and what is there to play anymore because AI is going to kill all chess. But actually, if you think about chess and what's happening in chess right now, AI has completely transformed how we play chess, and the chess has become far more interesting today than it used to be before. So like this, I believe that technology and all the other things that are coming in, we should not generalize that the world is going to go micro or whatever else. Depends on the context. We would go do many things concurrently at the same time. This book will be available in written textbook format. It will be also audibly available. Automatically you would be able to translate to all the languages because that's available now. And with his generative AI stuff and all the Sora and other things that are coming in, I'm sure you'll generate a movie out of this very quickly as well. And it would look very cool and people will consume what is appropriate. So I think we are going to see a next generation of how we learn, how we write, how we create content. And these are all good steps, and I would not say this or that. I think it's all of those is how we look at things. And I think, Chinmay, you are at a very interesting time now. You are just starting out your career, and there's a lot of different things that are available to you as tools to write the next brilliant, I wouldn't call it book, but whatever you call it.
Thank you, thanks. My next question and a quick comments, because I know all of you manage multiple things at the same time. Okay, and there are a lot of my younger friends, and I'm pretending to ask this question on their behalf, but actually this is my question also. How do you manage to do so many things in a day? Because I have known you, and I have seen Sir professionally, but I have seen Sir managing one kid at home is tough. And the way he's always calm and cool, and with all those people around, I don't know how you do. So what is your advice on how do you really maintain what you want to do, and what's your quick take on that? I mean, just secret.
Actually, to answer this question, we don't have to really go very far. Just look at the book that Chinmay has produced. He has to obviously be attending school, and he is at that juncture where he has to think about his future. There will be several submissions and other commitments in the school as well. And then he has still managed to produce a phenomenal book.
Well, there are some controversies on those topics. That's why I said, let me ask this question.
Okay. And what is really, incidentally, I have read this book from the cover page to the last page. So I can tell you that even right from the page of acknowledgements, where he has spent quality time thinking about how his sister has inspired to write the book, to the end of the book, if you were to look at the references, it's mind-boggling. The range of references he has cited. When you actually do, Anand, Ganesh would also agree. Those of us who have had to spend quite a bit of time creating our thesis, the way we will have to actually bring up the references, that's a kind of diligence he has actually showed in this book, referring to many of those books, articles, videos, and so on and so forth. So he also spoke about these multiple characters and how he has planned various chapters using Excel sheet. So essentially, time management and making sure that detailing, observing each of the character, observing other people that he interacts with, and making sure that those characters really come to life. It's really a pleasure to read all of those characters come alive through this book. So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is, if a young boy, he can actually demonstrate that it is possible to do multitasking through this labor of love, I don't think it's such a big deal for some of us who have had the privilege and opportunity of a larger support system and self-motivation along the way. So that'll be my answer to your question, Yogesh.
Again, I'm going to talk it from, a student's perspective and an education perspective. I think a couple of things. One is that, identify your 20%. I think it's very important because most of the time we are wasting a lot of time doing frivolous stuff. I think that's really important, and each one of us will have our own 20%. So if you can identify that, you'll seem to have more time to do it. And the second is that it is extremely important, that's what I feel, is to have a routine which is sacrosanct. I mean, you don't allow it to change. I think that allows you again to do a lot more. It also keeps, you mentally robust, and therefore, you don't seem to, you tire out or whatever it is. So I think identifying your 20% and having a regular routine would be something that would help you to achieve a lot more.
Thank you, sir.
No, so I'm going to be very short. I think it's about writing things down and being diligent about the activities that you are doing, make a list. And the other thing that I find very useful is to delegate it to someone else so they come back and nag you and then you follow up on that.
What is the question?
Ganesh, the question is especially for you. You do so many things in a day. How do you do that? It's a simple question. Let me simplify the question.
No, honestly, and sorry if there are any impressionable young minds whom I'm going to pollute. You have to have fun every minute. I mean, life is too short for us to get too serious about life. Like I got up this morning at 3:45. Why did I get up? Because I was in a tent in a place called the Eco-Tourism Retreat in Konarak in Odisha. And it was pouring, meaning the tent was almost falling down. So 3:45 to 5:15, no lights. I was just waiting for the sun to come out. After that, we were in Puri for half an hour, reached Bhubaneswar airport, got onto a delayed flight, came straight here, and Uma and I now have to go for a dinner elsewhere. But, I mean, it's a Saturday. But we don't mind. I mean, that's fun. You're spending time with people. You're enjoying the smiles on faces. So I think for me, that's the most important. Even the company we run called 5F World is all about being fast, focused, flexible, friendly, and fun. And if that's your mantra in life, you will never have a boring day in your life. And at the same time, you will always add value because you're meeting so many people at the same time. So I think for me, doing 15 things is not a drudgery. It's just the joy of life.
Thank you. My last question to you for the final comments. You wouldn't have read the book, but your comments on the book, author, whatever you feel like, just closing comments from all of you.
Since I've read the book completely, I like to quote couple of examples from the book where Chinmay has actually spoken about the importance of knowledge. And what is fascinating for me is the fact that a young, this sort of, insight that he has shared here about knowledge is something that takes a while for all of us to realize, and it is coming from somebody as young as Chinmay. That is what is exciting. So this is in page 119, where he talks about knowledge. A person with no money and vast knowledge can surpass a person with limitless money with no knowledge. We are exploiting the leverage of Ashoka's secret society and his fate towards the path of knowledge. That's a quote. But if it allows us to control the world with such powerful knowledge, then why not? So this is a very powerful insight that he has shared, which I really loved. And there's another quote I would like to share, which is where he has tried to actually, page 19, I think, it's the 3 laws of Buddha he talks about. Again, for a young person like Chinmay to bring Buddha's principles, to explain Buddha's principles in a manner that other young people who will reading the book can, young or in fact even old, can understand and appreciate Buddha's principles in a very simplistic way. I seek, The 3 laws of Buddha that we all must follow. This is page 19. The Bhava Chakra, or our endless cycle of rebirths. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, I seek refuge in Buddha and spreading knowledge. Sangam Sharanam Gacchami, use the knowledge you have to spread it across the community for the good. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, use the knowledge as your dharma, your duty, your purpose. So, these are some of the, besides the fact that there is a fabulous plot, there is a whole this detective brain working overtime, describing various characters. But these are some of the insights which has come through a very young person. That is truly fascinating for me.
Thank you.
All I can say is that I'm happy that you took my advice and let him be. That's most important. Because, of course, I have not read the book, but what she's read out just now, obviously it's going to make very interesting reading. I think what's important is that it's also a lot of credit to both of you, okay? Because, all young people are born potential. I think every child is born potential. I think it's the environment that you give them. Everyone gets a school environment, okay, so that's common. But it's the environment at home and the support and love that they get that converts them into talent. And I think, besides congratulating him, many, many congratulations to you, Yogesh, and to your wife for this major, major success. I'm sure it's going to be interesting reading for all right? And may you write many more. And may you use some new AI, generative AI for making a movie. You probably have George Clooney also in it, all right, without him really being there. So wish you the very best.
I think it probably shows you the lack of talented heroines that he could only think of George Clooney, but okay, youth. No, so I think, I actually find this uncanny, and I must share this incident with you. Wednesday morning, I was chairing a board meeting at the State Bank office, and the room where I was on the 10th floor of that Nariman Point building was called Kalinga. Okay, next morning, I am in Konarak, next evening. And Konarak, as you know, is literally opposite the Kalinga battlefield. And then finally, I pick up Chinmay's book to read it. And by the way, my experience of reading books is, if you read the first chapter, you pretty much know what the rest of the book is. The rest of the book is trash, normally. Okay? And this is true whether it is the biggest author or the smallest author. And then I read his first chapter, and again I read Kalinga. I said, my God, this is like very uncanny. And then I was almost keeping the book down, saying, now I know what he's going to talk about, Ashoka, Kalinga, and then suddenly it becomes a novel. So I had to read at least 2 more chapters to figure out how he relates something very different to each other. So a fantastic job, Chinmay. And you have a great potential ahead of you. And finally, my closing thought, my life has been inundated by the Patgaonkar family, okay, because there's a whole bunch of Zensarians right here in the middle of the audience. And all the Zensar guys will remember when I came into Zensar as CEO in 2001, we had a very fuddy-duddy old human resource head. And it took me all of 6 months to throw him out. And then we were looking for fresh blood, and we found Mr. Yogesh Patgaonkar, who walked in. He's not an HR guy at all. He's a comedian, but also does HR, okay. So it was great fun. And then after 5 years, we said, okay, we've had enough of this Patgaonkar model, so we turned him back to the garage. And now we have the latest and the best, Pallavi, okay, who's the CEO of our company, Global Talent Track, that Uma and I founded 11 years ago. And in between, we had the joy of working with Janvi, because she actually worked as a history researcher in one of the companies that we kind of co-funded from 5F World, which is called Live History India Digital. So we've experienced, I think, the joy of working with the Patgaonkar family and the fun of it. One of these days, hopefully, Chinmay will make the mistake of joining us also. Thank you.
So I just want to wish Chinmay all the very best. I think you should experiment, try different things, write different kinds of stuff, and I think you have a bright career ahead of you. So I hope, you are hugely successful, and we are all very proud of being here today and wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much, everybody. Give them a big hand.
Thanks to all the chief guests. Now for that main part of the event that all of you have been working for. Brace yourselves for the exciting moment where we are going to unveil the trailer of the book. So just to quickly introduce, he's from the publisher's side, Mr. Leslie Whistle. Yes, let's go for the unwrapping, please. You can, please, a little closer. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. I hope you all know that we still have books available for all of you who are extremely curious to pick up the books and read or start the habit of reading. Today we've listened a lot about how important reading is. So you can pick up the book for yourself, for your kids, girlfriends, boyfriends, parents, whoever you wanted to, but make sure you pick up a book today and encourage somebody to actually start reading. Now, finally, we are slowly coming to the end of the evening, and I would like to call upon Mrs. Pallavi Patgaonkar onto the stage to officially give away the vote of thanks.
My father and my mother-in-law believe, and they really believe this, that blessings are counted on the people you have in your life, whom you call your own. So today we are totally blessed to have all of you, and it's like a moment that will be treasured all our lives. So thank you so much for being here. I start my gratitude, and we are incredibly grateful to our esteemed guests of honor. Thank you so much. I mean, this is like a dream come true. Something that we would have only wished for, but seeing it in reality was like, it reminds me of the song in My Fair Lady. I could have danced all night and have wished for more. So thank you so much for being there. They'll say thank you. To our august audience, and that has our wonderful family which we are blessed with, who've really come here from everywhere. A special thank you to our grandparents, Ajji Azoba, who are here to bless Chinmay. Sorry, he's now a 16-year-old, so I need to call him Chinmay. But yes, it means a lot, and your blessings mean a lot. To our dear friends who are a treasure trove for us because they are the highlight of our lives, thank you so much for being such a wonderful part of our journey, and thank you for being here to bless Chinmay. A special mention to his teachers who are here for their patience, for their faith, and for at many a times calming an anxious mother when he was at his notorious best. So thank you, dear teachers. Your support is always valuable. To Chinmay's friends, guys, we really love you. Thank you for being here, and you are an absolute blessing in his life. To our publishers, NuVoice and Hubhawks, Leslie sir, who've come here especially for this event, Kevin, Kiran, Vinny, Abhishek, Abhijit, all of you, we miss you here today, but thank you so much. This wouldn't have been possible. To Foster Reed's Nagma, she's such a wonderful and lovely person, and she's now Chinmay's buddy. So thank you, dear Nagma. You really light up any occasion. Thanks a lot. To Simon & Schuster for encouraging the young author. And to each one of you, to PYC, yes, and to each one of you present here, many thanks for your gracious presence, and to the Almighty, and to our Sadguru Mangalnath Maharaj for his blessings that guide our journey of life. Once again, thank you so much, and have a lovely evening. Thank you.
everybody. Thank you so much for being part of this wonderful evening. As we wrap up all the formalities, we invite you to join Chinmay and the entire gathering for a high tea that's available right behind there on the back side. The food high tea is waiting for you. We also have the books available here. Technically, the book's official launch is supposed to be on 29th, but we've made it available for you here today at the counter, also giving a small offer of 50 rupees on each of the book copies. Make sure you get your copies. If you would want to gift it to anybody, make sure you get your copies, and it's available online on Amazon. We made it live today. So you want to pass along the links to anybody who's not available here, please do that as well. And yes, grab your copies, grab the author, make sure you get the copies signed by him before you leave, and make sure you click a lot of pictures. Thank you so much for being part of this wonderful evening, and enjoy the rest of the day.